my lovelies, how are we doing? Welcome back to my channel, Boomy Reactions. My name is Boomy. Thank you for watching. Now today, guys, we're going to be watching another weather-orientated video. So, I know I'm very interested in weather extremes, and being a Brit, obviously, the weather fascinates me. We talk about it all the time. But yes, the extremes in weather that are experienced, particularly in the US here, it's absolutely gobsmacking. Like my jaw is literally hitting the floor. Not literally, you know what I mean, figuratively. It's crazy. We do an awful lot of complaining about the weather, but we don't experience any of these extremes. So for people, Brits, that don't experience weather like this, I'd say it's shocking. It's nothing short of shocking. It's terrifying. Tornadoes in particular have made their way up into my top 5 scary things that keep me up at night now. We do experience them in the UK, but nowhere near. They're mild. We might, experience them and think of them more as like high winds. Yes, they're destructive. They take your greenhouse away, the kids' trampoline down the bottom of the garden. But most of the time, that's the extent of the damage. It's not really, trees can come down and vehicles can, be collateral damage. But we don't see, rarely, we don't see lives lost. Every now and again, they do happen, and it's very, very unfortunate. But like I say, what we experience weather-wise is absolutely nothing compared to the tornadoes in particular that I've seen many a video on now. So today's video is another tornado one. I think you guys just like seeing how shocked and frightened I am at your tornadoes. They scare me. They're so destructive. And I was thinking, I don't know why there's not more kind of scary, thriller, horror, almost horror kind of films based on tornadoes. And it's because they don't need exaggerating, really, do they? They are a force of nature to be reckoned with, and they are just terrifying on their own. You don't need to over exaggerate any details. They're frightening. So today's video is another tornado video, and this one has been requested by one of my lovely patrons. This is from Jeremy. Thank you very much, my lovely. And Jeremy says, "Hey Booby, I saw that you were quite shocked, yes, in the video about the tornado iceberg when 2 tornadoes hit a town. So I feel like you might be fascinated with this video. It has stories about many different details of the event, which is really shocking." Oh my gosh. So this is the night of the twisters. Oh, this city was hit by 7. Oh my gosh, 7 tornadoes. And it's Grand Island. Whereabouts is Grand Island? Oh gosh, I can't even fathom what that's like. Just even to be in the path of one tornado, even not necessarily like, an EPF, or an EF, an EF3, or like an EF1 or 2. That's bad enough. But they get so much worse. Honestly, guys, these have crept their way into my nightmares. So this is from a new channel. So this is from a channel called June 1st. And the channel itself is quite interesting. So I was like kind of delving into them before I watched this video. And they're a severe weather research channel. It's a project that was created by, I can't see their name, the creator of the channel. From a young age, he has a passion for severe weather, in particular tornadoes, because on June 1st, 2011, his hometown was hit by an EF3 tornado that left a 39-mile path of destruction. And oh gosh, 3 people lost their lives. And it was the most influential day of his life. That was the start of this channel and the research. And I think that the storm chasers, I think you're nuts. I think you're absolutely bonkers. But, the information that's learned from the storm chasers, it's invaluable, isn't it? They're on their front lines. No one else is going to see these things unless you're one of the victims. But they just do it over and over again. It's crazy. It's absolutely bonkers. You wouldn't get me anywhere near one of these things. So let's watch the video together, guys. And if you're enjoying these reactions, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, my lovelies. If you're interested, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account. That link is over here. And if you would like to help support my channel any further, I have a Patreon account. And if you want to check that out at all, that link is in the description just below there. Right, okay, oh my gosh. The city that was hit by 7 tornadoes.
As a late spring nighttime thunderstorm rolls in, 23-year-old Nebraskan Rod Gardner snaps a photo following a flash of lightning. Illuminated 2.5 miles to his north are 3 simultaneous tornadoes on the ground, churning right into his hometown of Grand Island. While he doesn't quite realize it yet, he just captured meteorological history. This was the beginning of what would become known as the Night of the Twisters. June 3rd, 1980. It's particularly humid in central Nebraska this afternoon, which was a persisting theme for the past several days. Out to the west and well overhead, a strong and persistent upper-level low has been churning for over a week, bringing multiple days of severe weather to the United States. In the northeast, a shortwave ejected by the larger system brought strong to violent tornadoes to western Pennsylvania through the Virginias early that afternoon. But back over the Central Plains, little weather was expected. The U.S. Weather Service office at the Grand Island Airport called for a 20% chance of thunder showers given the humid conditions, but ingredients were rapidly changing. Aloft, the jet stream seemed too weak over Colorado into Nebraska to support robust storms, but a subtle disturbance was propagating north that would promote forming a new surface low over western Nebraska in the late afternoon. That caused a rapid surge of unstable air northward into the state, with instability reaching over 4,000 joules per kilogram. Additionally, the low-level jet ramped up, creating an extremely favorable environment for tornadoes.
We're being very scientific here. I'm not sure that number means an awful lot in my my little boomy brain, but I'm going to take his word for it. That's bad.
If a storm could breach the temperature inversion keeping a lid on activity. At 6 p.m., a single cell explodes upward amongst the field of cumulus clouds. For the next few hours, it would mature into a proper supercell thunderstorm. A report of a funnel cloud came into the local weather service office shortly after 8 p.m., some 15 miles to the northwest. Meteorologist in charge Don Davis watched a hook echo become apparent on the WSR-57 radar scope, prompting the issuance of the first tornado warning of the night. In Grand Island at Meaves Bowling Alley, 30-year-old Ronnie Lease was warming up for his weekly league. However, news of the bad weather approaching forced the league to cancel for the evening. Instead of turning in for the night, Ronnie and several other league bowlers decided to head to the nearby Pagoda Lounge instead. At the shopping mall in town, 19-year-old Denise Baring is told by her boss to leave early to get home before the worst of the storm hits. She heads north out of town for her uncle's farmstead, where a family birthday party is being held that evening.
Oh my gosh, so many different points of view here. Are tornadoes more likely to happen in the nighttime or in the daytime? Or does that absolutely have no impact on their frequency or them happening at all? I think the majority of the tornadoes that I've seen videos of, I think the majority of them actually happen in the day. So does it have any effect on it at all? Are they more likely in the night or the day?
At 8:45 p.m., the first tornado of the night touched down in open fields. With the parent storm barely moving, the rotating updraft or mesocyclone of the supercell dictated the tornado's motion. Like a rotating planet orbiting about a star, the tornado orbited around the mesocyclone. The tornado carouseled and wobbled as other storm downdrafts further influenced its erratic behavior. Denise Baring is now driving on the farm roads northwest of the city. Little did she know, her family had tried to call her at work to tell her not to come as conditions deteriorated. She drives further into the rain, attempting to get to her destination. While this was ongoing, Hall County Deputy Kelly Buck watched 2 funnels protrude from the cloud base on the northern edge of Grand Island. He'd report the sighting right as tornado number 2 spun up at 9 p.m. local time.
They do look quite mesmerizing obviously I've not seen one in person, just from the footage, they look, I would describe it as like ghastly beautiful. It's like they look interesting and very unique and almost pretty, quite beautiful, but they look ominous, don't they? They look ghostly and they just look like death. But that's just seeing one. Now, if you looked out into the distance and you saw two of these, it would just be apocalyptic.
This tornado was anticyclonic, which is a very rare occurrence. Supercells primarily rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere.
I was going to ask this and I thought, no, Boomy, that's a stupid question. I noticed that they rotate anti-clockwise. Is that a rule? Is that most of the time that's the kind of pattern that they tend to circulate anti-clockwise? But so that is a general rule, and this one is moving clockwise, which is unusual. Yeah.
Given the Earth's rotational influence on the atmosphere, called the Coriolis effect.
Oh,
However, supercells still form two areas of rotation. The counterclockwise or cyclonic rotation easily becomes dominant as dictated by the Coriolis effect. However, particularly with slower moving, more robust supercells, the secondary, clockwise rotation can become just strong enough to produce tornadoes themselves. As a supercell's rear flank downdraft surges around the backside of the storm, most of that flow is wrapped into the main cyclonic mesocyclone. But some of that flow peels off into the anticyclonic rotation, providing just enough of a kick to promote anticyclonic tornadogenesis. Anticyclonic tornadoes can hit you unexpectedly while storm chasing, as they are not under the main base of the storm. What also can be unexpected are home security breaches.
Okay. So the anti-cyclonic, is that what it was called? Or the ones that go clockwise? They're the sneaky little buggers. They're the ones that aren't picked up on the radars, and they're the ones that just catch you off guard. Ooh. Do they tend to be smaller, or can they just be as big as the other ones? Ooh.
What occurred next in Grand Island was extraordinarily rare. The second funnel cloud witnessed by Deputy Buck plants at 9:05 p.m. on US 281. For the next 7 minutes, 3 tornadoes are simultaneously on the ground, 2 of which are anticyclonic. This is when Rod Gardner snaps the only known image of the night's storm, clearly showing the dying tornado number 2 and strengthening tornado number 3.
Oh.
Tornado number 1 is shrouded by a wall of rain, the same wall of rain Denise Baring is driving through.
Now, I remember watching this in the other tornado videos. This is really, really dangerous because it's not shielding, it's like blanketing the tornado. So all you see is rain in front of you, and it's masking the fact that you're driving into the tornado. Oh, they're just horrible. I know they're not a living thing, but they're horrible.
Behind the curtains of rain, the tornado impacts her uncle's
description.
farmstead, destroying much of the farm's infrastructure. It looped a few more times along White Cloud Road, impacting Denise's vehicle. She would not survive, just 3/4 of a mile from her destination. Denise was an avid artist, loved the outdoors, and was friendly with everyone she met.
Aww.
Tornado number 3 dove south and entered the city of Grand Island, first grazing the Veterans Home and severely damaging several blocks of homes between Capitol Avenue and Cottage Street. A strong downdraft shunted it southeast directly towards the VA hospital. Hundreds of windows blew out on the large masonry structure, but it stood firm for those inside. Adjacent houses were not as fortunate, with a few being completely destroyed. The tornado churned furthermore into uptown Grand Island, but fortunately was losing strength, concluding north of downtown at 9:30 p.m. In total, 40 people were injured by tornado number 3. At this time, Tornado 1 was still ongoing, crossing Nebraska State Highway 2 into the Capitol Heights neighborhood. Several homes were damaged as Tornado 1 roped out after 49 minutes on the ground. While only 6.5 miles from its starting point, its winding path added to a total of over 14 miles. Grand Island had several minutes of reprieve as the supercell cycles its old updraft for a new one. By 9:46, tornado number 4 reached the ground at the intersection of US 34 and Shady Bend Road, This was the third anticyclonic tornado of the night.
Third.
Fortunately, did little damage, only knocking over a few power poles and flattening crops within its 4-minute lifespan. The storm's base meandered past downtown and became seemingly stationary as it spooled up tornado number 5 at 10:16 p.m.
So would you regard this, this is tornado number 4, isn't it? Is this quite a minor, a smaller tornado? It's lasted for 40 minutes. I don't know what its EF rating is, but I imagine it's quite a small tornado. Yeah, no.
It planted in the Eagle Lake subdivision, causing damage to several homes. The tornado, orbiting about the mesocyclone, now tracked due westerly, an extremely rare path for a tornado to take. It ramped up in intensity riding along East Bismarck Road, shredding the Meaves bowling alley as the orbit pulled the tornado southwest into the Pleasant View neighborhood. Some homes are completely flattened as the orbit continues to drag it southerly over South Locust Street. Among the first businesses hit on this commercial stretch is the Pagoda Lounge, where Ronnie Lease is located.
Oh, no!
It is completely destroyed with patrons inside. Homes along Eddy Street and Lincoln Ave are severely damaged as the tornado then overtakes Tipton Trailer Court. Here, 17-year-old Robin Larson and her fiancé attempt to shelter as their mobile home was obliterated, throwing the pair out into the storm. It was right around this time when tornado number 6 formed in the fields 2.5 miles to the east at 10:25 p.m.
No, okay, so that wasn't tornado number 4. That one had come and gone within 40 minutes, hadn't it? So that was tornado 5. Quite destructive. And then this is tornado 6. Oh, there's too many.
Similar to the Pilger event in 2014, 2 dominant cyclonic updrafts were able to coexist simultaneously. It too began to orbit, taking a southwesterly course. Meanwhile, the violent tornado to the west continued along South Locust Road, right along the tail of 25-year-old Danny Davenport's vehicle. He drove underneath the awning of the Regal 8 motel and hunkered down, shielding his fiancée. The Star Elementary School was the next Grand Island landmark to take a critical blow, and several classrooms in the gymnasium completely imploded. The tornado was now coming around the horn to the southeast, aiming for the motel where Davenport was sheltered. In a nearby house, 66-year-old Charles Peterson hears the storm coming. He sought shelter along a bedroom wall, while his wife, Hattie, crawled into the bathroom just 4 feet away. The Regal 8 motel takes a direct hit, and the awning comes down on Davenport's car. He's knocked unconscious, struck by a support beam. The household is also hit, completely blowing down much of the structure. Tornado number 6 now comes into close proximity with tornado number 5, shunting it back to the west in its dying breath.
What happens when 2 tornadoes come into contact with each other? That's a stupid thing to say. I'm going to say it anyway. Do they kind of repel each other? Or is there any chance that they merge? Or does that not happen? Like, what happens? What if they're going in the 2 opposing directions like they were talking about earlier? Would they repel each other if they were doing that? Or do they make a mega tornado? It's like the stuff of horror films. I'm watching this. I may as well just be watching it like this, like through my fingers, because it's got me on the edge of my seat. It's making me wince. Oh.
Tornado number 6 too turns southward, then east, as it churns over the very path tornado number 4 carved less than an hour earlier. The city of Grand Island had endured its last tornado of the evening, but the supercell was not done with the show. The 7th and final tornado touched down at 10:45, a mile southeast of the Platte River. In 45 minutes, it only traveled some 4 miles from its starting point, but its coiled path added up to well over 13 miles.
But it wasn't as destructive. So this last tornado, it's burst itself. Like, it's appeared, it's kind of done its little path, but it hasn't come into contact with any infrastructure or any residents or buildings, and it's dissipated and gone. Yeah? Fingers crossed.
Initial emergency response proved chaotic at first.
Oh.
The storm's slow progress dumped several inches of rain on the city, causing localized flash flooding. There was confusion as communication breakdowns made it unclear if more tornadoes were coming, and ambulances were quickly overwhelmed with injuries.
Yeah.
Among those transported to hospitals were Danny Davenport and the fiancé of Robin Larson. By 5 a.m., emergency crews were now organized in sweeping structures for survivors. Hattie Peterson was found alive in the collapsed household.
Oh.
Her husband Charles was not as fortunate. The Grand Island native worked for the Union Pacific Railroad. Up the road on South Locust, the body of Robin Larson was found in a collapsed Dairy Queen, over a block from where her mobile home once stood. Her funeral was held on what was supposed to be her wedding day.
No. Oh, that's very morbid. Oh, that's so sad. The couple that he spoke about just before Robin Larson, is this the lady that managed to crawl into the bathroom? Do you think that was what saved her?
In the collapsed Pagoda Lounge, crews find Ronnie Lease deceased.
Oh.
The veteran did 2.5 years in Vietnam and had just finished his first year as a teacher at a local junior high.
Oh no.
Tragically, Danny Davenport succumbed to his injuries, passing 3 days after the tornado. He saved the life of his fiancée, who he was supposed to marry that September. Cleanup got underway quickly in the following days, which included a visit from President Jimmy Carter. Among those on scene in Grand Island was Roger Wakimoto, a PhD candidate under Dr. Tetsuya Fujita. Fujita was the nation's foremost expert on tornadoes at the time,
scale.
studying them via the damage they produced. Over the next several months, Fujita and Wakimoto combed through the evidence and put together a clear picture of the night's storm, which was unlike anything they'd seen before. They plotted their erratic paths, discovering that 3 of the 7 tornadoes were anticyclonic. In the words of Fujita, these were the most complicated tornadoes he had ever surveyed. Using his rating system, the Fujita scale, he determined tornadoes 2, 4, and 7 were F1s, 6 was an F2, 1 and 3 were F3s, and tornado number 5 was an F4, the second highest possible rating. Final storm tallies included 531 destroyed homes, with another 1,400 sustaining some form of damage. 49 businesses were decimated, and damages in the city accrued to $300 million, roughly $1.14 billion today. 200 individuals were treated for injuries, and 5 lost their lives. Debris from the town was gathered in a small landfill on the west side of town. It quickly reached capacity, and city officials decided to turn the landfill into a park, where the now covered debris pile was aptly named Tornado Hill, serving as the memorial for the lives lost in Grand Island on June 3rd, 1980.
Oh. It's awful, isn't it?
This episode
The youngest was 19. Oh, it's not fair. I don't think I will ever get used to hearing about the details of these tornadoes. They will continue to shock me and sadden me. And I suppose they are a bit of a source of fascination as well, just because I think for a lot of people that don't experience such extreme weather, it's almost unbelievable. Like, I think to most British people, of course we know tornadoes are very destructive. We know they happen. But knowing about them and understanding the sheer horror of them are 2 completely different things. And yeah, I think unless you've actually witnessed them or, maybe been around a tornado warning and heard other people's stories and seen these things through videos, I don't think you understand how horrendous they can be. They are actually frightening. Like I say, they have wormed their way into my top top 5 nightmares. So my heart absolutely bleeds, and my heart goes out to the victims' families and to anyone who's experienced this awful, awful, extreme weather. And you guys just kind of, it's just accept it and say, and it's kind of hard to see that, because I don't know, I find it so shocking. I find them very, very scary. And like, just the resilience of Americans to just be like, yeah, sometimes they happen. Yes, it's tornado season. I'd be terrified. I'd be in the corner of the room rocking backwards and forwards. Never mind if I was to live through a tornado warning. I'd be hysterical. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for putting the fear of God in me. Thank you for requesting this video. It's very, very interesting. I do have a bit of a morbid curiosity in extremes of weather. I like volcanoes and things. I think it's just the demonstration of how powerful nature is, and we're powerless, aren't we? We are. And I think the only thing we can actually do is just be prepared and help when it happens. Oh God, it's awful. Anyway, guys, I hope you found that as interesting as I did. Hopefully you're not quite as scared as I am. But I am a bit of a wet lettuce. Take care of yourselves, my lovelies, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.